Welcome everyone to this week's IPLD sync meeting. It's the 8th of November 2021. And as every 2 weeks, we talk about the stuff that happened in the IPLD world and then discuss any open agenda items there might be, or if there are any questions. And as always, you're also happy to join the call if you like to. So first on my list for the update is Daniel.
So my update is a bit brief because I spent a lot of last week traveling. There's a bunch of new APIs that I exposed. The first one is a bit of code, though, used to be internal, now is external. It's to produce Go types that satisfy the bind node API for some IPLD schema. So it's not meant to be the only way to use bind node, but if you only have a schema and you want the Go types, you can type them out by hand, or you can just use this to get a starting point. Which is what I used for the schema itself, because I was too lazy to write the 300 lines of Go definitions. The second bit of API is what I've been talking about before, which is the top level schema parsing APIs. I ended up calling them load schema because it's loading and parsing, and I thought load and parse schema was a bit of a heavy name. So load schema seems fine. So it comes in three forms: the basic one that takes a reader, and there's a bytes one, and there's a file one. And I think those are like the most common things people will want. And if anybody has thoughts on those two APIs, please speak over the next few days, because I believe we haven't done a release with them yet, but I imagine that will happen soon. So I would rather not break them. And also a couple of small bind node fixes for bugs that Massey and Adin spotted over the last couple of weeks. That's pretty much it, and reviews.
Thank you. Next on the list is Rod.
So I had only a couple of minor things. I'm currently actually working on another iteration of the Intro to IPLD material. So we did a deck last year and it's been iterated a couple of times. I'm doing it again because we're running a boot camp thing for the Protocol Labs stack. So that's interesting again to address that and to look at how to. I'm trying to pull in more of the concepts of content addressing into the IPLD stuff, so it covers all of those basics, and trying to do that in a way that it is not confusing, like doesn't just hit you with confusion. It's a bit tricky, but it's there, so it's a bit of fun. The only notable thing that in the last couple of weeks was did some debugging on a persistent bundling failure that we have in our JavaScript stack that has been reported by multiple people, but it's been really hard to actually pin it down and say exactly what combination of things you require to get the error. We live in this really messy world right now with bundling and loading in JavaScript, where we're going through a huge change in the ecosystem, and it's taking multiple years to get through this change because there's so many custom loaders and bundlers and things, and they're all trying to implement a standard that's not really well defined, and so we end up with all these edge cases. And so this one is an edge case that you need to have a particular combination of tooling to encounter, and what's more, it turns out to be a bug in one of the bits of tools, which is not a surprise. And it's not just that you need a particular combination of tools, but you need your packages to be ordered in a particular way to encounter the problem. So it's just a mess. But the bug has been fixed upstream. We've identified exactly what the bug is, thanks to Alex Butzides, who did the bulk of the debugging on that. And we're just waiting for the ecosystem to catch up. But the package that has the bug is not doing backports. So basically you have to use the tool that's got the newer version of it bundled, which is, yeah. Anyway, at least we know what it is, and we can say to people, you need to either upgrade or put pressure on the tooling people to get the new version of the thing included in your version. So mess, absolute mess. And yeah, browsers, bundling, garbage. Okay, Eric.
That sounds like fun that you've been having. I don't know if I have a ton of cool stuff to report. I've been working a little bit on documentation scattered around here and there. So soon you might see some PRs appearing for more ADL reference material because someone was asking questions about that and I wanted to get it written down, but it's not quite there yet. There's a PR just opened in Go IPLD Prime, finally introducing a migration guide. That's probably like really long overdue. So I'm kind of excited about that. Even if it's a bit small, it lists some of the old Golang libraries and like specific names of APIs that you might be querying search engines for. How the heck do I get from A to B? Names those and names what the new stuff is. So it's not exhaustive and it's not like sed refactor scale instructions because the change in APIs is often somewhat bigger than that, but at least gives you some like critical pointers of old and new that should get people started. Some of that is depending on the new storage APIs PRs, which are not quite landed yet, but hopefully will be soon. Daniel helped me find some amusing bugs in the benchmarks, which I think is one of the last things that I wanted to fix before landing those. So all of that might appear soon. That's about it. No other fireworks from me.
Cool. I don't have any update this time, but probably soon. And then we have one agenda item, which is about the future planning, because there was the lab week where protocol labs and other people met last week, and there was a bit of planning. And does anyone from you talk about this, perhaps, or just explain more what it is about? And
We'll put together this write-up of the discussion that we had. It's linked in the doc. It's a HackMD for anyone to look at, and it's just a bunch of ideas about things that we could consider doing in the next 6 months in the prioritization and how important they are. So very initial discussions, but anyone that tuning into this is welcome to have a look at that and weigh in with your opinions about what is important for us to be doing and focusing on in the next 6 months or so. But there'll be more discussion about this, I think, in the coming weeks.
all right, thank you. Is there anything else? No. Cool. Then it was a quick meeting. So thanks everyone for attending, and see you all again.